Okay, welcome to this lecture file here for Material Science 410. We'll be looking at the lab experiment where we'll fabricate a silicone-based diffraction grating using an aluminum mold extracted from a compact disc. So to review some of the goals for the lab goals are to learn how to prepare a silicone-based polymer and understand the chemistry there, and use it to fabricate a diffraction grating. The quality of that silicone diffraction grating, meaning its registration of the pattern in the mold, will be assessed using various characterization equipment, and we'll compare that to the polycarbonate master as well. By doing so, we'll also learn about methods for characterization of surfaces, including AFM, as well as some optical effects of diffraction gratings by using a light diffraction result using lasers and some rulers to measure diffraction angle. In some versions of the lab, we will use X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy to determine surface composition, and this may be part of your course as well. And all of the materials in this lab are going to be relevant to polymer science and engineering, and even commodity materials like silicone caulking that's been found in your bathrooms for a long time. Okay, so typically the lab operates in a 3-day process. Day 1, the students would fabricate silicon diffraction gratings, and they would conduct a laser diffraction experiment and begin data analysis, either individually or in pairs. The preparation of the diffraction grating involves the preparation of a PDMS polymer and a silicone grating. And so what we'll experience in this video format of the lab are lab videos touching on those steps for us. And we'll use laser diffraction to characterize the grating. So we'll see that lasers of different wavelengths, meaning red lasers, green lasers, and blue lasers, will be passed onto a specimen with a diffraction grating pattern, and this will lead to the diffraction result owing to an angle, at an angle that's dependent on the chosen wavelength, the laser color. Day 2 and 3 is where we have materials characterization and data analysis. So this is where, again, students would work in groups to understand AFM and XPS measurements, and we'll turn to lab videos to help us with this. And ultimately, some data analysis and interpretation would occur on those days as well. In this version of the lab, students will be submitting a technical lab report or memo as an individual report for this lab for Material Science 410. So, a little bit of background on our diffraction grating. A diffraction grating is an optical component that has a periodic structure that can diffract light into several beams traveling at specific angles. Okay, in order for the diffraction to occur, remind yourself of Bragg's law, and sort of the periodicity that's present on the diffraction grating should be on the same order of that of the wavelength of light that we are diffracting. And so if that condition is satisfied, the diffraction grating result will occur, and again you'll see several beams of light traveling at specific angles. So here you see a light that strikes a diffraction grating and diffracts off at an angle by reflection back onto a surface like a wall, and this can happen symmetrically about that diffraction grating to light source angle. Okay. So the diffraction grating can be characterized by various techniques. Shown here is a topographical information plot generated by atomic force microscopy. And this would be a way to understand the periodicity and therefore the expected diffraction angle according to what incident light is imposed onto it. We'll also note that in the first diagram we saw that diffraction occurred to the nth position, so that is to the first sort of diffraction intensity spot. But Bragg's law would tell us that higher orders are possible, and so we can see n equals 2 and n equals 3 cases, where again we would see diffraction to additional angles here. So diffraction gratings are integral components of many spectrometers, and they're often called monochromators. And they can be used to spread a white light source. So here, if we label this as a white light source, where all colors of the rainbow are emitted from the source, if we impose that onto a grating, we can spread according to a modified version of Bragg's law to show that the different colored light coming from that diffraction grating will diffract to different angles, and this allows us to spread the light in a fashion to position different wavelengths to a different position, in this case ready for a detector. So this can be very useful for lots of different instruments, one of which is shown here, where we're able to understand the absorption qualities of a sample. So this could be a dye in solution. And here we would use a diffraction grating to spread all the colors of the rainbow from a white light source, and use an exit slit to allow only one of the wavelengths or one color of that rainbow to impose onto the sample for study of the sample. So here you see blue light is allowed to pass the exit slit, while other colors of the rainbow are blocked. And following acquisition or interaction with that light, there could be processes that would lead to wavelength shift of the materials. So it's not necessary that the case that only blue light comes or passes through the specimen, but properties of the specimen may shift the light into other colors. So as those other colors are studied, we need to spread those into a new sort of position on exit slit, so that we can acquire the information and intensity of those carefully one by one. And so all the colors of that piece of the light passed through the specimen or emitted by the specimen can be spread into a different position, and an exit slit there can direct only a small portion of them, say the green portion, onto a photomultiplier tube for quantification. And so this is the setup that you would commonly see in an absorption spectrometer for study of the UV and near IR range of a specimen. Okay, thank you very much. We'll see you at the next video, where we talk about the silicone polymer chemistry involved in making our silicone-based diffraction gratings.